Hi, welcome to Soft Cover Reviews. My name is Ash, and I figured I'd kick off this first channel video with a little bit of an introduction to my current physical library. So over the last couple of months, I've really been getting into more Booktube and reading in general. So I decided to start my own Booktube channel, and yeah, let's get into it. So I finished reading a couple of different books. Ooh, let me go get my Kindle. Okay, I'm back with stuff. So I have my Kindle here. Let's see. And nothing too exciting going on with it so far. I actually messed up the back here. It should have like all the Amazon junk on it. But I thought, oh, let me try to take some nail polish remover and like clean off the smudge here, and then it just removed the whole thing. So right now I just got the little pop socket and Luna from Sailor Moon. I guess eventually, maybe that'll be a video idea, designing this, because like I don't care too much about putting stickers on it now since the Amazon thing's gone. So as far as like resale, it's just like is what it is. So I have my Kindle here and have my Goodreads pulled up on my iPad. So I am so far behind on my Goodreads, on my reading challenge on Goodreads. So my challenge for 2023 is 30 books, and I am currently 5 books behind schedule. I've finished 11. So the last book I finished was Dune, and I actually, I think it was last week. I went to my local used bookstores. They sell new books too. And I took over Dune and a bunch of other random books and got some new books, which I'll include those in this video. And yeah, just clearing things out. I took a video of my little bookshelf over here that you will see a clip of. Yeah, I'm getting off topic. So I last finished Dune. Wasn't that crazy about it. It was all right. I guess now I'll just check out the movie and see what is or isn't different about it. I don't know. I figure at this point I know enough about it to where I have a better idea going into the movie as far as like what it's about. So yeah, Dune, it was okay. Low Country Boil. So I first learned about this book through Peter Mon. I mostly keep up with his vlogs and his Booktube channel, but occasionally I'll watch like his review channel and some of his other stuff. His own Peter's Book Club that he has on his Instagram and through his Booktube channel. And so on there, that's where I discovered this cozy mystery series. And I really enjoyed it. I've been wanting to get into cozies, but I've never really found anything that clicked with me. So Low Country Boil was really good. It was based in South Carolina since I've moved to Georgia. My mom and I, we've been vacationing in both like Hilton Head and Myrtle Beach, just all on the coast of South Carolina. So it was cool to read a series, or at least start a series based in South Carolina and like near Charleston and all that stuff. So I'm excited to continue with that series. And then the last book after that was World War Z, and that was an audiobook. So I have a few audiobooks that I also plan on getting back into. I'm going to restart, what is it, Songbirds and The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. So I started this one either earlier this year or last year, and I dropped it because I was getting bored. I got like 4 or 5 chapters into it and I put it down, but I do want to see the movie for it. So I figured, okay, let me push back through it or start it over and kind of push through the first part because I heard that it picks up and it gets really good from there. So those are like the last 3 books that I've read so far. I figured even though I haven't read as many books this year as I've like wanted to be on at this point, that I will do a mid-year freakout video since I've been watching a couple of those. Let's get into this physical library of mine. I'm going to do a whole separate video on all the books that I have been buying off of Booktube. I got this whole little system going on, a few audiobooks. I currently have my Audible paused because I like to read, or I guess listen to. I like to listen to audiobooks that either have like a large cast, or if it's going to be a bigger book, like I read Fire and Blood earlier in the year, like that was great on Audible. Yeah, I just like more if it's going to be like a bigger book, or I know it has like a cast to it. Those are the ones that I try to listen to versus having like a physical bigger book, which is also why I'm starting to read more Kindle books, so I don't have to have as many giant books like my next big book read, Pachinko, which I'm very excited about. Heard a lot of good things about. I know it was popular a few years back, but I haven't read it yet, so I got this one. Very excited. One of my other goals reading wise this year is to read more big books. I also have, here it is, The Secret History next, that I plan on reading after I finish Pachinko. So on that note, let's get into some of these other books that I have. So I have a bunch of like random stuff. I have The Money Manual by Tanya B. Rapley. I got this on Amazon. I think I first discovered this book on Tumblr a few years back, and I haven't gotten around to reading it yet. So it is a practical money guide to help you succeed on your financial journey. Very curious about this as far as what it will offer as far as like advice for savings, stuff like that, money stuff. And then I also have this one that I found on, I think, Amazon, Stock Market Investing for Beginners. So this one, it's also like another short book by Truman Penny, and yeah, just like stocks, RIAs, stuff like that. So those are more like the money books that I have. We already talked about The Secret History briefly, and so this one's by Donna Tartt. This one's also just like all over Booktube. This one I believe it's supposed to be like at a university, like Oxford or something. I've heard it has like cozy fall, dark academia vibes to it. Very excited about this one. Let's see. Let's go from this way. So I'm the Girl by Courtney Summers. So this is another book I discovered through Peter Mon. He had this for, what was it? His February book, I think it was. He actually did like a giveaway. I did not get this through the giveaway. I ended up buying it. First listened to Sadie on audiobook, Sadie on Audible, and I was mixed on that. The podcast part of it, because it's about this girl whose sister ends up getting murdered, and she goes and tries to figure out like who does it. And the B plot, you have this guy who has this podcast, and one of the girls, what was she? She's kind of like an aunt. She reaches out to this guy who runs his podcast to get their story out there. So you have the two sides, which was really cool, and the recording of it was really good. But the story itself, I think I ended up giving it like a 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. It had potential, but I was just starting to get over it towards the end there. Yeah, I gave it 3 out of 5. I would have said like 3.5, but on Goodreads, they don't do like the half. So I ended up having it go down to 3. So yeah, I figured, okay, I've heard good things about Sadie. I wanted to try it out because another book that I read last year, I think it was, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I was told that a lot of people that didn't like that book liked Sadie more because they had similar plot to it. And yes and no, kind of. I did like Sadie more than A A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, but not enough to where I feel like, oh, read this over this one. I feel like they both do their own thing. I think Sadie's supposed to be YA. I know A Good Girl's Guide to Murder is YA, but yeah, they're both fine. So I'm the Girl is by the same author as Sadie, and this, from what I remember, is about this girl who, there's something like with a cheerleader or some popular girl. Let me just like read what this actually says on here. When 16-year-old Georgia Avis discovers the dead body of 13-year-old Ashley James, she teams up with Ashley's older sister, Nora, to find and bring the killer to justice before he strikes again. This is kind of like Sadie. But their investigation throws Georgia in a world of unimaginable privilege and wealth without conscience or consequence. Okay, so this is like a recurring thing with this author. And as Ashley's killer closes in, Georgia will discover that when money, power, and beauty rule, it might not be a matter of who is guilty, but who is guiltiest. So, and then they talk about how it's like successor to Sadie and all this other stuff. So yeah, it seems very similar to Sadie. So I know Peter Mon was saying that he didn't really like it that much. It was all right. And then there were some other people that were like in the comments of the video, like official review of the book, and just like a couple other videos of his, like as the whole thing was like going on. I saw a lot of people saying that they were mixed on it. Some people just like dropped it. So I'm very curious. I'm not really much of a hardback book person anymore. Now that I've been back into like reading books and stuff more, I like more of soft covers. So this is like one of the last hardcovers I bought on purpose. Most of my books I try to go for softbacks. I did buy, so this next one, One of Us is Lying. I got this one used on Amazon for like, I don't know, like $5 or $6. The cover is missing, but you can see on the side here that it has the title. So this one I know is also YA. I like more of like, no, adult fiction. Not so much, or I guess, yeah, adult books. I don't know, YA. I'll read a few YAs, but it's not like my preferred genre. One of Us is Lying is a series, and I believe this is the first book in it. So I bought this one, I think, earlier in the year, maybe last year. Haven't really gotten into it yet. Let's see. Another book that I have here is Crash Diet Stories by Jill McCorkle. By Jill McCorkle. And so this one, I believe, is just a bunch of like short stories. I forgot where, was this also like a Peter recommended book? I don't remember now. Let's see. So this one says, portraying contemporary Southern women with both humor and pathos, Jill McCorkle conducts a zestful, adventurous tour into the byways of the heart. That was Chicago Tribune. So let's see, modern stories, modern times. Yeah, so it looks like it's a couple of different women and like their stories being intertwined, I guess. I don't know. I'll have to read and find out. Another book we have here on the physical shelf is Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. A classic. I think I saw this one in my, oh, what is that book called? I don't have it up here. It's like Daily Rituals, Women at Work. So in that book, it talks about different women throughout art, like film, designers, a lot of writers, and she was recommended, or not recommended, she was mentioned in that book. And so it talks about how everyone's schedule, or if they've done interviews or accounts from family members, what that specific woman artist did in a day. So it might have been writing at night, working during the day, or getting up really early at like 4 or 5 in the morning and starting their craft, and then by like lunchtime they'd take a break and do other stuff in the day. It was just cool seeing how so many different women in the arts had their schedules, and some of them had some advice in it. Other women, if they were like more of like, I don't want to say like historical figures, but like not as modern, it was more of like family accounts as far as like stuff that she might have said passing. I really recommend that book. And if you're interested in like time management and just seeing like how other women have been able to create things in unusual setups. Like not everybody has like a 9-to-5 or even like a actual like day job. There were some of the women in there where it's like they had family, they lived with family, and they just had like their family took care of a lot of things for them. So anyway, she was mentioned in that book, and I was very curious about this one because I want to say this one, yeah, this one's a classic, and I believe she is Black. So we always gotta read more Black literature. So next book, I've heard mixed reviews on this one. I'm very excited because of the controversy. So My Year of Rest and Relaxation by Otessa Mosfe. Not sure if that's how you say it. This one, I feel like Eileen is also on my TBR. So I've heard a few things about this one. This is another one that's been popular for a few years now. Had to grab it. It's kind of a biggish book. Let's see, how many pages? Without like spoiling it. 288, 89. It's not too bad. So this one, from what I remember, it's like this girl, she lives in like New York City or something, and it's kind of like Gossip Girl but depressed or something. So excited about this one. Might start that one after The Secret History. We'll have to see how that goes. Manga. I love Sailor Moon, and I've been sitting on the Sailor V manga. This is the first one. Let's see, get that in focus, maybe. There we go. Again, like the back here. So I've been sitting on this for a few years now. I started reading it at one point, and then I ended up dropping it. Not because it was bad, I just forgot to finish it. So I've always loved Sailor Venus in particular. Very excited to finally get this done and maybe start like the rest of the series. I'm not sure how many Sailor V mangas there are. Next up, Damn Good Advice. So this one, I remember Jim Gisriel, he recommended this one by George Lois. I think, did this author pass recently? And that's why Jim recommended it. He's also a YouTuber. He does more film commentary and like talks about animation. So he brought this up in one of his live streams. So he said it was a good book. I trust his judgment. We'll see what I think about it. And then we have, I'm going to lump all these together, the last 3 books in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series. So we have, I guess we'll do it like this. So we have, I think this one's the 3rd book, The Life, the Universe, and Everything. These are, I think, the like newer covers. We have So Long and Thanks for All the Fish, and Mostly Harmless. So a lot of these are references to the previous books, and I really enjoyed this. I think I've read the first 2 books last year, and I was trying to get more into like sci-fi and give that genre a chance. And I really enjoyed, so far, the first Hitchhiker's Guide book is my favorite. The second one was good. I could probably push through these because they're such a quick read. And once you get into it, you just like keep turning the pages. It's really entertaining, at least for me. I know there's kind of like, some people really like this series or they're just like over it. It's kind of that goofy British humor to it. I think if you're like a fan of like Doctor Who, you'd really like this series. So yeah, it's very good. And then at my bookstore I was talking about, I picked up a few classics last time I was there. So I have Franny and Zoe by J.D. Salinger. And they write the price on the books here. So that's why some of them you might see will have like numbers and like feature. Actually, I think my other books have them written on there? I don't know. But yeah, so that's why it's green. Jack Edwards, he recently, well, maybe not recently, a couple of months back, read this book and he was talking about it. And I actually bought it before he read it. And I vaguely remember the plot, but I know the book is divided into 2 parts. So the first part is in Franny's POV, and then the other one is in Zoe's POV. I remember Jack Edwards liked, I think, Franny's half. Zoe's he wasn't as thrilled with, but we'll see. Next up, we have Siddhartha by Herman Hens. Another one, I really like the way this cover, like the way this book looks. Also has the little price written on it. So in this one, it says, in the novel Siddhartha, a young man leaves his family for a contemplative life, then realizes life, then restless, discards it for one of the flesh. He conceives a son, but bored. Oh yeah, okay, I remember Jack Edwards talking about this one too. This one was like another one of those where it's kind of like finding yourself books. So, I don't know. Maybe we'll read this around the time. I don't really have an order of how I'm going to go through these books. I do want to get through these physical books, so my bookshelves accurately represent my book taste, basically. So if I end up liking this one, I'll keep it. If not, I'll take it back to the bookstore. The Metamorphoses by Franz Kafka. I feel like I'm on Tumblr, and every couple of months, every couple of weeks, you'll see like a Kafka quote. So when I saw this at the bookstore, I thought, okay, I have to pick this up. I know he has a book of like poems. That's where a lot of people find those quotes from, that I do want to read. But I think a lot of those are like in German or something. So trying to find a good English translation is kind of difficult. But the Metamorphoses, I think, if I remember correctly, this is the one where the guy is like a bug or something. Yeah, he transforms overnight into a giant beetle-like insect. So that sounds really interesting. I kind of like surreal books, surreal plots in books. So also looking forward to this one. Okay, I have some books for my K-pop blog. So this one is on music theory, a 101, very kind of like, well, for dummies style book, where you have basically all the basics, a crash course in music theory. So everything that you need to know about making music, how to read sheet music, understanding the construction of chords and scales, different rhythm and time signatures, just stuff to like make my writing sound a little bit better. That's the goal, at least. And then SEO for Dummies. So this one is just more like educational stuff, things to help as far as like keyword research. I don't know if they talk about like link building or just a bunch of boring like website stuff that I thought might be helpful. Continuing education stuff for improving my site, getting your page and getting your site indexed, all that stuff. So I've been hanging on to this also for work back when I was doing like some marketing jobs. This was helpful. So yeah, we have this one. That one, I don't know if I'd say I'd read it like page to page, because some of the stuff, it's more of like a reference guide, not necessarily something you'd sit down and read to completion. I guess you could if you wanted to, but that's not my plan with it. Okay, so these final books here on my physical bookshelf are the ones that I picked up when I did my book exchange at my bookstore the other week. So got these 3. I did not plan on having them all be similar color, within like the same color family. That's the word. So let's start off with Rebecca. I forgot who I was watching recently. Was it Emily Fox maybe? But somebody was talking about Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. There you go. So this one, I've been seeing people talk about again. Supposedly this is where Verity by Colleen Hoover, she got inspiration for that. I did not fully like Verity. Kind of hot take. I feel like that's not really even a hot take anymore, because I read Verity, I think it was summer last year, and that was probably around the time she was starting to get more popular. And then I tried reading It Ends With Us, and I got through like the first chapter or 2 on Audible, and I just DNF'd it. The vibes were not there. Verity has potential, but I don't know. It's that ending though, where I'm just like, I wasn't really feeling that. So Rebecca's supposed to be like, she walked so Verity could run or something. I think this one's more of like a classic book. Let's see. Ooh, this is kind of like long. Let's read it. Last night I dreamt I went to Manderley again. So the second Mrs. Maxim de Winter remembered the chilling events that led her down the turning drive past the beaches, white and naked, to the isolated Greystone manse on the windswept Cornish coast. Oh, they're like British? Okay. With a husband she barely knew, the young bride arrived at this immense estate only to be inexorably drawn into the life of the first Mrs. de Winter. Ooh, okay. The beautiful Rebecca, dead but not forgotten. Oh, dead but never forgotten. Her suite of rooms never touched, her clothes ready to be worn, her servant, the sinister Mrs. Danvers, still loyal. And as an eerie okay, I'm seeing it. And as an eerie presentiment of evil tightened around her, the second Mrs. de Winter began her search for the real fate of Rebecca, for the secrets of Manderley. Okay, that sounds good. All right, excited about that. We love a good murder mystery. And then another book, series, show, whatever I'm late to, The Handmaid's Tale. So I've had this on my TBR since like 2019. I used to have Scribe, and I had it saved on there for the audio version. Never got around to... No, they didn't have an audiobook version of it. They just had the PDF. So I never got around to reading it. And then I saw that they had it on sale. Not on sale. I saw that they had it at my bookstore. So I decided to pick it up. I heard the book's very good. The series kind of mixed stuff on it. I think they're on like 4 seasons now or something like that. So yeah, gotta check that out. And then another one that I think this one, Emily Fox was talking about. When was she talking about this? I think she was talking about this book around last year when I first started watching her. I don't even remember. Emily Fox has talked about this book a few times. And of course there's like the movie about it. I think this is also like a series or something. I know I said earlier in the video I'm trying not to buy big books in physical versions, but I couldn't pass up on this. I just was thinking about it, and then it like manifested itself in the store. So I had to get it, and it was like $4 after my little discount. Because at my bookstore, the way that they have it set up is the books that you turn in, you get so much of a credit as far as the books that they actually are going to resell. And then you can take the books back that they don't want, or you can have them just donate it. And that's I've had them do so far. So you get credits for the books that they actually keep. And for every time you go in there and buy another, I believe you can only use it on used books. So they take off half of the price for the new used books that you're buying. So yeah, that's everything on my physical shelf. And then I have, as far as my books that I love and that I want to have on my shelf that are like some of my faves. So I have The Language of Letting Go. It's like meditations. So this one, another Peter Mon recommended book. I haven't been keeping up with it as much, but every day you have a certain concept that you read and like just kind of like sit with. Some of these are more like recovery, like addiction related stuff, but I think just for things like, okay, so for January 2nd, the concept is healthy limits. January 3rd is like nurturing and self-care. So some of these things, they don't have to necessarily be things as far as like recovery and addiction, but just things that you can take with you and just incorporate that into living your life better. January 20th was New Beginnings. So like every day of the year, there's something that you can read and just like meditate on, think with, start your day, end your day with, I guess, too, however you meditate. So because it's like daily, you don't necessarily have to start January 1st. You could start it on like, what's today? July 25th, for example. Actually, what is July's? Because when I was reading this regularly, I would read it like after I woke up. Keep at it. So, and these are like a couple of paragraphs far as stuff going on there, and yeah, it's really good. I like it. Okay, so one of my favorite reads from, was this last year? This year? Oh no, that was earlier this year. So one of my favorite reads of the year so far, Project Hail Mary. Where did I buy this book? By Andy Weir. The sticker is covering Bruh's name. I do not remember, but I got this earlier in the year before I discovered that they're getting ready to turn it into a movie, which I will see despite, spoiler, okay, slight spoiler, I have arachnophobia, that's all I'm gonna say. So, not excited about how that's going to translate into movie, but this book is so good. I haven't read The Martian yet, but that's also on my TBR. Looking forward to it. This was like another book. So I started reading Hitchhiker's Guide, and then I picked up this book because I think this was Emily Fox's recommendation, or like she read it, and I think she liked it. So I picked it up, and then I was just like in this sci-fi kick. So love that book, one of my favorite books. And then one of my other favorite books of like all time, Leanne Moriarty's Big Little Lies. I've been meaning to watch the HBO version, like series. I love Nicole Kidman and Reese Witherspoon, so both of them being in it, it's just like a win. But I haven't watched it yet. I'm so bad at watching shows lately. But this book was fantastic. I think I read this back in like 2018, 2019, something like that. So another fave book of mine. And then like an oldie but goodie, Looking for Alaska by John Green. So I've had this book since I was like 19, 20. I remember back in like 2011, 2012, like right as I was graduating high school, John Green was huge. I read The Fault in Our Stars, Paper Towns, which it was okay. Oh, An Abundance of Catherines. That's probably one of my favorite books also that John Green wrote. I need to have that up here, but Looking for Alaska is probably like my first favorite of his. Then An Abundance of Catherines. That one was really good too. So yeah, gotta have it up on the shelf. And I think that is everything. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I'm excited about Booktube videos in the future and just sharing my love of books and hopefully building a community where we can all just talk about books and recommend other books to each other and yeah, have fun. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.